Now, one of the big things I was reading about in terms of what you want to concern yourself with and improve in East Brunswick is the Route 18 project.
Correct.
So, in fact, you said if done correctly, it could help bring East Brunswick back to the forefront.
Right.
So what does correctly mean, and what is the latest up-to-the-minute update on how it's going?
Okay, well, first you have to, as in anything, you have to understand the history. Route 18 has always been a very big commercial corridor for East Brunswick. People moved to this area at a time when people were leaving cities, which sounds ridiculous today because everyone's now moving back to them. But there was a time after World War II when people left cities. They were crime-ridden, they were overpopulated, they were dirty. People wanted better opportunities and they moved to suburbs. And that's when the East Brunswick had its largest growth, the late 50s, the 60s, early 70s. And that corridor reflects the needs and the desires of people who were leaving those cities at the time. So you see big malls and you see large amount of commercial space. These were the things that attracted people here, on top of the good schools and the fact that we were a commutable distance to the city. But over the course of time, between demographic changes and the like, now we're finding that suburban communities are having more of a difficult time trying to keep up with these millennials and Generation Zs that want the workplace type of environment of a city.
Quick access.
Quick access, your the work, play, and live all in the same place.
Right.
That's what they're looking for. And so we need to try to turn something that was not built for that into something that can attract those type of individuals back here, so that ultimately in time when they do have families and when they do want to settle down and when they do have all those desires, their needs will be the same. They will want good schools, they will want good and easy access to the city, they will like the geography of our location, and they're going to still want all of the amenities that you get in a city. How to create that at an affordable price is really what we're after on Route 18.
You've already got the schools, from what I understand.
We have
right?
the schools, and we've had them for decades. The good schools in East Brunswick's not new. If you look at the seal for the Township of East Brunswick, it pointed out what are our main concerns: commerce, safety, and schools, education. That was a commitment from generations well before I got here, and they've maintained that. And it's still the #1 reason that people move here. However, it's like the old story, objects in the rearview mirror are not, they're a lot closer than you think. Other schools aren't waiting.
Right.
They're starting to increase their opportunities, and so schools around us are fairly attractive to people who are moving to suburbs still. And so we need to recreate ourselves in some way. And the biggest area of concern is the Route 18 area. Our commercial businesses have really evaporated. And I can't say that that's all because people are buying online. I can't say that's all because people are moving away from suburbs, because Route 9 and Route 1 corridor has built. And they're the same suburban communities at East Brunswick. I can't say that it's all the recession. The recession didn't just fall on East Brunswick. It hit the entire nation. So we need to define and have a vision for how we're going to see that corridor in the future so that we could attract those people. And we're working very, very hard on that as we sit here right now.
So to bring back businesses and to create that all-in-one kind of life, work, play balance.
Correct. We want to attract and concentrate primarily on the area that's on the northernmost portion of Route 18. That's the closest to the Turnpike. That's the money spot. We have 2 bus utilities that we own, one by Tower Center and one by the Walmart. There's a 2-year wait to get into those parking decks that are by the busing station, because it just shows you the volume of people that desire the ability to get in and out of the city so quickly. The bus commute from East Brunswick is a 45-minute commute. That's really pretty quick.
I took it. It was easy breezy.
Easy breezy, but it's a 2-year wait to get a parking spot. So there's clearly the need for that. And we want to, and there's the need for, and the realization that millennials and Generation Zs, who are really different demographically from one another in many ways, are finding that the city and Jersey City and Hoboken and cities like that have finally gotten to the point where they've priced out. For the first time in about 10 years, rents in New York City for the last couple of months have actually started to drop a little bit. It's just impossible to afford to live there. And if you're lucky enough to have an apartment, you could do nothing else. You can't eat there, you can't go out for entertainment because there's just not enough. The rents are just way too high, which poses an opportunity for people in communities like ours who could perhaps put together mixed-use developments in that section where you can get easy access to the bus stations, easy commercial, maybe on the first floor, where you have restaurants and nightlife and activity, customer service type of industries that can't be done online. And the ability to live there, have some art and entertainment that's all there, and then get right onto the bus and right into the city. And there's towns that have talked about doing that. Most of them have been around train stations. Ours is going to be around bus stations. We're looking to put a third one up on the southbound side of the highway, because if there's a 2-year wait for the 2 decks that we already own, and we're going to put more people there to live and commute, there's going to be the need for parking and the ability to have easy access.
So do you offer enticements to the businesses, to the restaurants and so forth to come here, or how do you get them to come?
Well, the biggest thing is trying to convince, we don't own the land.
Right.
They're owned by individuals, some of them are bigger owners than others, and now you have to try to come up with tax incentives so that they can invest in their own property to try to reinvent it in a way that it satisfies the needs of these mixed-use communities that would attract those type of people. And interestingly enough, we say Millennials and Generation Zs, but there's the Millennials and Generation Zs are one group, but you have baby boomers and Generation Xers.
Yes, don't forget about me.
I'm not going to forget about you. And if you look at that group, a lot of them are getting to the point where, you know what, my kids are now in college, I don't need this big house anymore, why am I paying all these taxes, the maintenance, eventually the roof's gonna go, maybe it's time to downsize. And so if you look at a lot of these communities that we're talking about that are mixed use, it's not just young kids that are living there, it's a lot of baby boomers without kids who aren't ready to move to Monroe or to the age-restricted communities. They don't want to deal with HOV charges for common areas and have to worry about laws that restrict what they could do on and off their properties. It's just easier for them to rent. And many of them are looking at communities like that. So I think that there is an opportunity beyond just what we hear about all the time, which are Millennials and Generation Zs.